The secret to getting more sales coming into your business, in your coaching business, is to get inside your client's head. And we're going to tell you exactly how to do that in today's show.
So the big question is this: how is a tiny percentage of entrepreneurs blow the pack away? What are they doing that we're not? I asked myself that question for 10 years. I was failing forward and getting sick of it. I wanted to build a coaching business, but couldn't make any headway. So I started studying. I realized that the world's most elite marketers, entrepreneurs, and gurus were all using the same 4-step system. I call it the authority factor. On the show, I'm going to prove to you that the authority factor worked for them and it'll work for you. My name is Ken Dunn. Let's get started.
Hey friends, good to see you again. Good to have you on the show today. Listen, I want to spend a little bit of time with you today and talk to you about how you actually get people buying your products and services. And I'm really excited about having this conversation with you because it's going to take me back into my days as a police interrogator. And I have to tell you exactly how I use police interrogation skills to sell my products and services to my ideal clients and customers. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that today. But before we get into the subconscious response to stimuli, that's the technique that you use in police interrogation, I need to back you up a little bit and talk about the biggest reason why most people struggle launching coaching businesses. I've helped over 1,000 people launch their coaching businesses, write books, build online courses, all kinds of cool stuff related to having a really good, stable, strong business growing. And whenever somebody new comes into my community, especially people that have already been trying to launch a coaching business, the first thing that they struggle with when they're trying to communicate with their clients and customers and getting people to buy is how they communicate with them and what they're selling. And I'll kind of try and keep this as short as humanly possible. The reality is when you decide you're going to go out to the market and you're going to help people, the challenge that you're up against right up front is most people, the way that this happens is you first go through a journey where you've got a challenge that you're going to fix or that you do fix in your life. And whatever that challenge is, that challenge grabs a hold of you, and it's almost like metamorphically, like outside, extraterrestrially, you get this deep desire to help other people. And I'll tell you how this happens. And you tell me if this is something that's happened to you. You fix that problem, whatever it is. Maybe you lost weight. Maybe you've got a business growing. Maybe you fixed a relationship. Whatever that is, that thing in you. And people started noticing that extra spring in your step, that you looked better, you seemed healthier, you seemed like there was something really good happening in your life. So they want to ask you about it. And you tell the story, that story, that breakthrough story. You don't even realize it. Here's what you say. For years I struggled with this thing. They knew that most often because they knew you. Then I realized that if I did things this way, then I could fix that thing and it would change forever. And so I started doing it that way. And then lo and behold, I lost weight. I got whatever that thing was, right? That's the story you tell. And what is the first thing that whoever you tell the story to says? You should write a book. That's amazing. You should write a book about that. And that's really where most people who get into the coaching space, that's where they start. People start complimenting them on their fight and getting through that thing. And so they automatically start thinking that they should tell the story, that they should go help other people. But that's a recipe for disaster. The very first thing that you should do is get outside of your own story just for a minute. And if you're starting a coaching business, if you already started and you're struggling with revenue, the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, what is the problem that they're dealing with? What is the problem that I can help people with? But it's not just about, saying that like hypothetically, because that will become the foundation for all the marketing you do, whatever that problem is. And I'll give you an example. Some people that are in the life coaching space, they say, well, what's the problem? People aren't happy in their lives. That won't work. If you're thinking that way, if you start going down that road and you think people aren't happy in life, I'm going to help them with their life. that's going to fail. You have to ask yourself, what is the problem that your ideal client is actually saying in their minds right now? I need to lose 30 pounds. My relationship with my spouse sucks. I got to start making more money. That is the problem. You got to ask yourself, you got to get inside of your client's mind. Ask yourself, if you're struggling with this, go to your social media channels and make posts and say, what's the biggest struggle you're having in this area in your life, and see what they say. And what I'm going to challenge you to understand is how different what they're actually saying the problem is to what you think the problem is. And therein lies one of the biggest reasons people fail in their coaching businesses, is they don't actually take the time to really ask themselves, what is it they're thinking? I need to make sure that the problem I want to solve is the problem that's in their head. And friends, typically it's just a difference in the way you explain it or the way you express it. But if you're going to go out to market and you're going to start making money in any type of coaching business, you've got to go out and hang a sign, right? That's social media advertising and posting. And your sign has to say, if you have this problem, come to me. I will help you with that problem. But if the problem you're advertising, you're telling to the world, is not the problem they're thinking when they're scrolling, they're going to just pass you by. You're going to become another part of the noise. You hear this saying all the time. There's a book called Blue Ocean Strategies. Blue Ocean Strategies is an amazing book. If you haven't read it, you make sure you read it. Well, in the book Blue Ocean Strategies, it talks about how everybody out there is doing everything already and selling to the same group, and it creates this bloody red ocean of competition where everybody is fighting with each other, and it's really hard to get people's attention. So if you want to win in business, you've got to create a blue ocean. How do you do that? It's really simple. Just do what I just told you. You create like a name for your idea. You create a problem that you're going to solve. That's the problem that's in their head. Basically, it just means Blue Ocean Strategy really means, how do you position yourself in the market so that people will see you and express interest in you and slow down and pay attention to you. And that is by positioning the problem. Now, the next thing that you want to do in this journey is you have to really get your origin story in play here. So once you know what the problem is, the next thing you want to do is you have to understand about how important storytelling in your business is. How important storytelling in your business is. And one of the exercises that I get all of my coaching students to do when they're building their businesses is really perfect their origin story. This is the story you're going to tell people. And friends, if you do this right, this will lead you right into the subconscious response to stimuli. What is that? That's the technique that I used in police interrogation. I interrogated 18 suspects of major crimes when I was a police interrogator. 17 of them confessed. How did I do that? It's really simple. The first thing you have to do is you have to hunt for common ground. You have to find common ground to them. Now, that was really hard when I was interrogating murder suspects in a little room with nothing in it, and they knew I was there to get the story out of them, but you have to do it, and that's what I did. I would spend hours talking to the suspect in the interrogation room before I'd ever talk about the crime. I'd ask them questions about their lives. I'd ask them questions about their hobbies, and I'd keep going at it until finally they realized that that was a safe area to talk, and we'd find something we had in common. That's the common ground. So you want to build your origin story so that your clients and customers will start to relate to you, and you can start to break down their current beliefs and rebuild their beliefs with your system. Now, that sounds very complicated, but it's really easy to do. All you have to do is have a proper origin story. The parts of an origin story that you have to build and you're going to be telling stories in your business like crazy all the time. The first part of the origin story that you have to build is common ground. You have to find common ground. And you do that by just asking them questions, letting them answer the questions, and going through that journey with them. The second thing that you're going to do, once you have common ground, you have to tell your epiphany story. in as short a time as possible. You have to tell the story about what your life was like before. What was your breakthrough? What was your aha moment where somebody else came into your life? It's typically help you get from somebody else and they showed you a new way of thinking or a new way of doing things. So you tell them about your breakthrough, and then you tell them the change, the new vehicle, how that affected you. That's your origin story. If you're going to try and build a coaching business, I'm going to tell you flat out, you got to be able to tell your origin story like nobody's business. What happens when you tell that origin story is people will listen to it, but in doing so, they're going to connect to your struggle, to your journey. Once they do that at a subconscious level, 100% of the time, it makes them drop their skepticism. This is the subconscious response to stimuli. What we used to do in police interrogations is it's neuro-linguistic programming, but it's at a much higher level than the NLP that you've heard about online. In the subconscious response to stimuli, we would first connect with the person by finding common ground, and then we would start to tell our own origin story on something that's completely different but related to what we're going through in there. And in doing that, what that does is it breaks down skepticisms, false beliefs, and opens the person up. And that's what it's going to do for you when you tell that story. They're going to connect to you. Then you're going to tell them about your new vehicle. That new vehicle is what you're offering them. If you're going to build a coaching business, what you have to do is go look in the market, see what everybody else is selling that's in your niche, and make sure that what you're offering to the market, it looks like a new vehicle to the people you're trying to talk to. Come up with a new unique name for it. That problem that you're articulating, tell your story 100% of the time so people will see it. And then what that does in the process is it breaks down their beliefs as they're hearing that you went through a struggle similar to theirs, because that's the first part of the story, right? You got to find the common ground first, then you've got to tell your origin story. Then you've got to tell that epiphany, not the whole damn story about what you were doing when you were 5 years old and 10 years old, but specifically, I had that same struggle. I found this different road. When I took the road, I solved my problem. That's it. That's your entire story. That will literally get into their subconscious. It will unlock their skeptical beliefs. It'll eliminate their skeptical beliefs, and it will really open them up. They're going to want to hear about how you took a different vehicle to solve your problem. So the moral to this story is really simple. If you want to get inside your ideal client and customers' heads, if you want to sell more in your business, it's really simple. Make sure the problem you're telling people you can help them fix is the problem that's in their head. Secondly, make sure you really get clear on what your origin story is. In fact, those parts of the origin story, the hunt for common ground, those pieces, make sure you have those laid out properly, and everything else will come together. Hey friends, thanks for being here on the show today. Listen, if you really enjoyed the show, then I gotta tell you, there are hundreds of other shows just like this that will teach you everything you need to know about building an online business wrapped around helping other people. I focus completely on teaching people how to build coaching businesses. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you know when new shows are live. And because you're here with me right now, as a special invitation, I'm hosting an online workshop where I'm teaching people exactly how to build a coaching business. Well, what I'm going to show you is how I've built an 8-figure coaching business working exclusively right here from my home office. And it's a 4-step system. How to build your following and move those people to your email list and then start selling your products and services to them. If you want to join the workshop, all you have to do is go to authorityfactor.info. I put that URL in the show's notes. Make sure you check it out.